welcome back to a brand new video, and today I'm going to be filming my very first podcast with a good friend of mine.
Hi.
Try to talk a bit louder.
Okay. Hi.
And our podcast is, as you can see on the screen, is going to be on productivity and organization. These two things are very crucial, and we think it's worth discussing. Have any other things before we dive into it?
This will kind of just help with dealing with a bunch of stress in your life, and it'll just make everything easier.
All right, let's dive into it. So, just a tiny bit about us. Me, who films the YouTube channel, I'm very productive, and the one who's filming with me
Is definitely not.
So we want to make this podcast to help better ourselves, give each other advice, and hopefully that will be very good for you guys who are watching and listening to this, as well as us who will learn something.
Mm-hmm.
So here are the topics we're going to address today. Want to read them out?
Time management, planning and procrastinating, and prioritization, organization, information overload, and mindset and motivation.
All right, that's great. So for our first two topics, time management and planning and prioritization, these two go hand in hand with each other. So I would say we're just going to combine these two topics into one and talk about them.
Yeah.
So first, I've been talking a bit too much. So how would you start us off?
First of all, just remember to take breaks, but not too many, because I know I'll do one thing and then just take 2 hours long of a break. But make sure you take breaks, give your brain a rest. Just I don't know, go for a walk, talk to someone, eat some food.
Eating food definitely does help.
Yeah.
Because eating food, that gives you the energy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the first thing I would do.
That would be the first thing I would do.
Mm-hmm.
So the way I do my day is that I would say your mind is most fresh in the early morning. So just wake up in the morning, do your routine and all, as well as get a few things done. It doesn't matter if it's checking email, doing homework, it doesn't really matter. But what does matter when you do that is that you actually get something done. And I realize with myself, I wake up extremely early in the morning. My friend definitely knows that.
Yeah.
And that's for me, doing, if you're attending school, you can do studying. If you're doing work, maybe, go emails, check, I don't know, do something. I'm not too familiar with the work and how in its environment.
I've started doing some of my homework in the morning, and it actually helps. But make sure you have enough time to finish before you have to go to school, because otherwise you have to do it in the car, which is not fun.
Or if you're doing work, make sure you complete your tasks, then you can finish.
Yeah.
Yeah, so especially during weekends, you have that time. It's not like it's a work day or school day for you. So on weekends, if you can, but I doubt anyone does this, wake up early. But even waking up at 10 a.m. and doing something, that's still being productive. And if you don't do that, then what are you doing? So going back to the taking breaks part, it's actually proven that when you take small amount of breaks, 3 to 5 minutes every hour, it does help you stay focused. I wouldn't say don't completely get out of focus, because sometimes I do that and it makes it really harder to focus later. But just as my friend said before, what you really want to do is that first, do your work. It's always good to start early. And what do you recommend when you first start doing your work?
Set a goal for yourself. Maybe if you know it's gonna be long or it's hard. Maybe if it's math homework, I suck at math. So I do maybe 5 problems, then take a break, and only 3 to 5 minutes, and then I'd come back, finish it, and then what I would do is after you finish a whole subject of homework, then you could take maybe a longer break, 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's a very good thing. So, also you said this before when we were discussing about planning this, and then when you want to do something, you should always start with the hardest thing first, so then you can just get it out of the way, and then it'll be much easier for you after. So another thing that we wanted to go is that taking breaks, don't stare at the screen. It won't help you. It'll just make you feel more unfocused. You'll feel like going onto YouTube or something like that. Don't do that. In fact, completely turn off your phone, close your laptop, do whatever. Get up, because it's actually scientifically proven through many studies that when you get up, do a bit of walking around, get your muscles moving, then what's going to happen is that it's going to be much better.
Yeah, it's move and like just get up, take a walk maybe around your neighborhood, come back, or just like I don't know, go say hi to your parents. I know whenever I get bored, I go and annoy my mom when that works, and eat some food or something, and then you can come back, do some more homework, and then take another break. And eventually, once you finish, you can take a big break and go to sleep.
Or something like relax or do something like that. So, what were you saying? I sort of wasn't listening.
I was just saying, like, yeah, get up and move. If you're bored, go annoy your parents or something.
Okay, I wouldn't recommend that. They would like that. But talking to people definitely does help get the brain functioning better. Because, like as I said before, exercise definitely helps. It's actually shown that kids in school, when they do exercise, their focus increases, their concentration increases, they get better grades, and that can be in the work. You can focus better, get your things done. Maybe you're on a product launch or something, and when you do that, it can really help.
Yeah. Or if you don't want to, like, do hard exercises because you're lazy like me, just stretch a bit. It actually
Stretch
really
a bit, or
helps.
just at least walk around, get your arms moving, your legs moving. That will really help.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on from taking breaks, because you shouldn't take breaks all the time. What else would be good?
Oh, so there's this thing called productive procrastination, which is like you're doing work that's due later in the week, but not the stuff due tomorrow, and it seems like it's helping, which I guess it is, but not in the long run, because you want to be able to like finish the tasks at hand. So make sure you're always like doing the thing that's like due right away, and then like come like that. I don't know how to explain it.
Okay, it's basically like worrying about the thing that's most recent that you have to get done. Then after that, worry about the later things. For example, like school is a good example for lots of things we're talking about right now. But for example, like you just say you have math homework due tomorrow. That might be weird to say because we're filming this on a Sunday. But we have it due tomorrow. And then you also have a project due 5 weeks. Don't work on the project. It might seem good, but it's not going to help with your math homework that's due tomorrow. So what she's trying to say, my friend's trying to say, is that first work on that math homework, then you can worry about the project or at least planning to do it.
Oh, also, this kind of goes back to taking breaks. What I do sometimes if like I don't know, I don't want to waste time by just taking a break. I'll like switch subjects. So like with the math homework and the project, sometimes I do switch over and do the project, but only for a little bit, and then I'll go back to doing the math homework because it just like helps take a break from like the mathy stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's also a very good thing to bring up because when you're doing something, getting tired of it, getting bored of it, it's good to take a break, but also it's very good to do something productive. My friends know me pretty well and they know I'm constantly productive.
Yeah.
If you haven't checked it out yet, I'm sorry, this is a shameless plug, but I have an Etsy store 3D print art co where I constantly work on building new products. I'm building one right now, but I can't really say it.
Her keychains are cute. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you. I work hard on them, and with that, I always do something productive. If I'm not doing something for work or something like that, or my YouTube, then I work on my Etsy. If I'm not doing that, I work on my YouTube. It's just with that, you always do something productive, and you get a bit of a brain break at the same time. So that's also the same for things if you're going to school and doing homework. If you're really tired of your math, just switch over, plan your ELA or plan science or do something with that. Then come back and your mind will be at least somewhat more fresh.
Yeah, like if you're doing a subject you don't like and you have like homework for one that you do, you can do a little bit of the one that you like and then just come back and try and finish the harder one to get that over with.
But you shouldn't have subjects you dislike. All of them are pretty good.
I guess.
You guess? Oh no.
I'm not gonna say anything, but there's one very specific subject that I dislike a lot.
Okay, we're not going to start a flame war or argument right now, but let's just say if you even dislike a subject, you should still do your 100 or 110% and go into it.
Yeah.
And since this all has to do with time management, taking breaks and all, we're also going to shift a tiny bit to planning and prioritization. So one very good thing to do is set goals. I know you guys hear this in work and school and basically everywhere, but goals are incredibly important. If you don't know what you're working for, then you don't have a motive and then you won't be as motivated, which is what we're going to talk about later. So there are many different ways to set up goals, but one of the ways I heard when I was younger, as well as a very good way to do it, is set something called a quote-unquote SMART goal. And SMART is an acronym standing for a specific goal, a measurable goal, achievable goal, a relevant goal, a big one there, and a time-bound goal. So we're going to go over each of these and discuss them. First, specific. With specific, you don't want to be so broad, being like, oh, I just want to pass, or I just want to get the work done. That's not a goal. That's just something you think you're going to do, in reality you won't. So what do you think specific means?
For like grades wise, maybe like if you want to keep it above a 95, work towards that. Or if it's like with your homework, just say you're gonna finish a set number of like problems or like whatever they are.
Yeah, but when those are good small goals, but when you use SMART goals, it's usually a pretty big goal that you want to go for. So specific, just like you said, you want to be specific. For example, if you were a college student and you want a 4.33 GPA, which is pretty hard to get, but it's basically like, okay, I want to get an A plus in all my classes, so instead of saying I'm going to pass, you're going to say I want a 4.3, I'm going to get a 4.33 GPA, and in order to do that, I'm going to get A plus in every class. So that's an example of a specific goal. A measurable goal is something that you can purely see, that you can measure, that you can see that you're improving on. So what I mean by that is, like, we're going to get into planning backwards a tiny bit later, but this also has something to do with that. When you're doing a measurable goal, you have to make sure that you have to make sure that you can see your progress. That's the term of measurable. Something's in my throat, I'm so sorry. Okay, I'm fine now. So measurable is like, for example, let's just say you're planning a marathon and you have 2 months to prepare. Every single day you want to prepare, well, you don't just want to like prepare the day before. It won't work like that. So when you're measurable, you can see, okay, I have 2 months. We're going to measure those 2 months. I'm going to do this much a day. And with that, it's much measurable, and that will go into our next thing, which is achievable. What do you think achievable means?
Making sure you can like actually like get to your goals. Like if you're taking a test and you got like a 73, you want to be able to get like a 83 next time, and just like going back to measurable, you want to be able to like see the progress, and then achievable, you want to be able to like meet the goal.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So achievable, don't set something unrealistic. Let's just say you're not a very good student, you always get C's and D's. You don't want to say, oh, I want an A for my class. That's not achievable, because if you look at your current skill, current level, and try to see that, that's a good, like, very long-term goal if you want to achieve up to that. But when you're talking about this, you want to make sure it's achievable. So saying, oh, I got a 58 on one test, I'll try aiming for a 70. That's progress, and going back to measurable, you can see that progress. There's also another case, an old teacher told me this, is that she had 2 students in her class that it's a very hard class. If you guys know what AP classes are, they're called advanced placement. It's like college classes except for high school and middle school. But basically, she had these 2 kids, they couldn't exactly read or write, and they were taking her class. And there's an AP exam as well, that's 1 through 5. They managed to get a 2 on it. And you might think, oh, that's not very good, but you must realize that these kids didn't even know how to read and write properly. Getting that 2 was extremely hard for them, and with that, they were able to do so much. And I'm sure they're very proud of that they were able to get a 2.
Yeah. Like, your skill level on something might be like different from others, so don't like compare yourself to others. Set goals that are like specific to you. So like, if you know you're not good at something, don't like aim for 110%. Just aim for like, so if you were at like 50%, aim for like 70 or 75, and then build yourself up to 100.
Yeah, that's a very good thing. With SMART goals, you have to build yourself up, even though they're long-term goals. It's all about that progress you're making. I could like bring in some like I forgot the word. Oops. But never mind. Could bring in some like spiritual stuff into it, but I'm not going to do that because that's not what we're talking about right now. But it is really true that when you want to achieve a goal, you have to make sure that it's achievable in your range. Comparing yourself with others will not help you, not one bit. And it's important to realize that, even as like, it doesn't matter what age you are, it's also sometimes tough to realize because all we feel like the world does is compare you.
Yeah.
But you have to remember that even when the world does compare you, you shouldn't compare yourself. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
So going on from that, the next part of our SMART goal is relevant, the R in SMART. So relevant is like, oh, I want to get 100 in math, I'm going to work on science. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. If you want to be relevant to your goal, you have to work on that goal and not on something else. That's just how things work. And that's how like everything works. You can't work on something else and expect to do good in another field. Like for example, in college, you have to say you're a CS major and you work on like literature. It doesn't work like that. They could correlate. I'm not saying they couldn't, I say they could. But when you are talking about goals like that, you have to make sure they're relevant, and you have to make sure you know what you're doing while you're doing them. So the very last thing, do you want to add anything else to that?
I was just gonna say like so going back to like the relevance, you want to work on things like specific to what you want to improve yourself at, and make sure you're not just like doing random stuff. So like you could like
You sort of have that problem.
yeah.
It's okay. All of us have to improve somewhere.
Yeah. What was this thing? Okay. Like make sure you work on skills with that thing and not just like other stuff. Because I know I get sidetracked a lot. I think other people do that too. So just make sure you like stay focused on your goal.
Yeah, that's a very good point. People do get sidetracked. Going back to our time management, you should stay focused no matter what. Because if you need to get something done, you need that focus, you need that concentration. Plus, I know this is a bit off topic, but there are foods that can help with your focus and concentration. You might want to try those. For example, like a big one I know is almonds.
Yeah.
It helps a lot.
Or,
I should know.
I know like some people, it helps like chew gum. It's like, or like fidget spinners or like fidget toys.
Yeah, fidget toys, some people they just fidget a lot and they can't let them control it, but those fidget toys help.
Yeah, I love like chewing gum because like as long as I'm like moving, I'm able to like think more and work. So maybe
that goes back to our other thing, exercise or like at least moving. Some part of your body does help. Like I do this a lot. My family knows I do this a lot. But for when I take a break, I seriously just walk around the whole entire house because that helps me.
Me too.
And sometimes I also walk around my own room. So
yeah.
That's how it works.
Oh, also I love just like dancing to music during my like breaks.
Oh yeah, like it's sort of vibing with music, so to say. I do that too. Like I play music while I work, and it's like, oh, I'm vibing.
Yeah. Like sometimes like do you get distracted with the music?
Yeah, you could. That's why music's also a very good help to focus, but it also can be a very good distraction.
Yeah.
So you have to figure out, does music help or hurt you, and what kind of music helps you.
Yeah.
Because I know like one person I know, like he likes listening to very calm music while he works, that are like 2-minute songs. As for me, I can listen to almost anything, I would say, except like rock songs.
Oh.
Because those are very like way too loud for me.
Yeah.
But I can listen to pop songs because I have this really weird thing is that when I try to memorize something, I memorize and correlate it to the song I'm listening to.
Yeah, it helps.
Yeah, it does help with some people, but if music doesn't work for you, you should figure out your own way. Some people really enjoy silence, and I respect that. So we're going to move away from time management and go into planning and prioritization. So we only have like one thing to talk about this since we covered most of it in time management. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Oops, I forgot. Alright, so going back to our SMART goals, I got a bit too ahead. There's one last thing to SMART, the T, which is time bound. You have to make sure you have a good time in order to achieve your goals. For example, if you want a 4.33 GPA like in college or high school or whatever, you have the whole semester to work on it, or a trimester, or the whole year. It depends on how the education works. But time bound is very important because then you know how much time you have to achieve that goal. And then if something does go wrong, you can see how much time you need to get yourself back up. Anything you want to add to that? Sort of forgot about it.
You pretty much covered it.
That's it?
Yeah.
Do I want to add anything? Okay, so we're going to move. Okay, now we're going to move away from time management. And what we're going to do with that is we'll go into planning and prioritization. For planning and prioritization, the biggest thing that we have to talk about for this is that we like to do something called quote-unquote plan backwards. You might think, what does that even mean? Can you guess what it means?
Figure out the due date and then like plan backwards.
Sort of. Alright, So you just say you have 2 weeks to do a project. This is just, we're adding all the examples because it helps people learn what we're trying to say.
Yeah.
So you just say you have a project due in 2 weeks. And you want to plan from there. You don't want to start planning from where you are right now, because then you actually miss some stuff and you won't realize the due date until it's actually there. In fact, my one old teacher had this sign in her class saying due dates are closer than they appear.
Oh yeah.
And it's honestly very true. Due dates are very close. They're much closer than you think.
Yeah.
Especially, it's not just for school, it's for work too. Like, you might think a launch for something is 6 months away. It's actually, before you know it, it'll go like that.
Basically how break works. You have like 2 weeks for all of summer, and then bam, school starts again.
Yeah. Or work starts again
Yeah.
once you take leave or something like that. So, plan backwards. So, you have to start from the due date and then be like, okay, 2 days before I want to finish this. Then be like, okay, 4 days before I want to get my final draft down. 6 days before I'm going to edit. 8 days before, so on and so forth. This also goes back to our SMART goal. Being time bound, knowing your time and using that to your advantage can really help you. So, since time management, planning, and prioritization sort of mixed together, we just sort of combine those two.
Yeah.
So I hope that helped, but we're not done yet. So the next thing is organization, which I have learned is a very, very big struggle for lots of people.
Including me.
Oh yeah, of course, including you. All right, so like everyone who knows me knows this about me. I am incredibly organized.
It's kind of scary sometimes.
Yeah, she sees me being like, oh my gosh, how are you this organized?
I know, she thinks her room's messy. I think it's like neat compared to mine.
Yeah, in fact, I told her, like, she came a few days ago, and I was like, oh yeah, don't mind the mess in my room. And she's like,
I said like, this is neat compared to my room.
I just, like, to me, it's a bit messy, especially since, like, I don't make my bed and all, but she was like, oh, it's pretty clean.
I like the chaos. So
One day, I might go into your room and just be like, oh, I'm just going to clean this up for you.
that sounds like my sister. She tries to like clean my stuff and I'm like, get away.
Like you said before, you like having everything laid out for you.
Yeah.
And it's a bit hot, I'm going to turn on the fan.
Okay.
Alright, minor break. So we're going to talk about organization, and we're going to talk about organization physical as well as digital, because both are equally important, especially since more and more things are becoming digital these days. So we're first going to talk about being organized physically. To be organized, the easiest thing the hardest thing actually is to actually stay organized. The easiest thing is to get organized, in my opinion. Because getting organized is simply knowing where everything is and when to get it and like where is it. Do you have anything organized in your room, or is it just chaos?
My
Or in your
closet's
house?
kind of clean.
Okay. Your closet. In fact, people struggle with their closets, and that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I have a very organized closet. But anyway, going off from that, closets are a big thing that people worry about, and sometimes they add anxiety and stress, so being able to clean that is actually a very good thing to do. But for the organization physically, let's just say you have a desk space. I'm pretty sure almost everyone has one. So if you have this desk space and things are everywhere, what I recommend is that take an afternoon or take it even a morning or evening. I wouldn't recommend doing this at night because it's like dark and you might not be in a very good mood. But take everything out, and it might seem like a lot of work, but honestly, you might actually have lots of fun doing it. Like, I reorganized my desk space over summer, and it was actually a blast. Like, I love doing it. And maybe it's because I love organization and being organized, but it's also think like when you're cleaning, it's also a very good feeling. Like, again, I could go into the spiritual side of this, but I'm not going to since that's not related to our topic. And if you guys don't know what I mean, I can relate to some other things. But when you are being organized, take everything out of your desk, like try to clean it, like having a clean and tidy workspace actually makes your brain much more clear, a lot less chaotic, and it can really help you. You want to add anything onto that? I feel like I talk too much.
It's like I took out all the clothes from my closet and then I started reorganizing everything, and it really helps. And also like if you know it's gonna like get messy eventually, just get in the habit of like when you take something out, put it back, so then it usually like stays neater. Or what I do with my sister is it's like we kind of don't do our chores. So we do like a system where like 1 week I'll do our laundry and she'll like dust or like sweep the floor or something, and we'll just like switch so you don't get bored of the same thing, which kind of helps with staying clean.
Yeah, that's a very good thing. Like if you have someone with you, living with you, or just working with you, having them cooperate as well can be good because sort of like us, one's very organized, one's not.
Yeah.
If we were to live together, we would both make sure that we stay organized.
Yeah.
Especially I. Like, especially me.
I would assist.
You would assist, quote, quote. But yeah, like, taking everything out of your desk or any area that isn't clean and then organizing it and then throwing the stuff that you don't need, it's very good for you, like, physically and mentally. Because you sort of get a workout, like, taking the stuff out, putting them back in, getting that energy up, but also mentally because your mind is much more clear, a lot more focused. That's another thing when you're doing, like, studying or something like that. A very good technique is to clean your study space.
Yeah.
And it's proven to work. So digital organization, so that's getting organized. The very hard part that you mentioned a tiny bit is just staying organized. Mm-hmm. And I'm putting emphasis on that staying for a reason. People, like, they can get organized. That's the easy part. That's, like, one and done. Staying organized is, like, a matter of habits that you have. And I have a organization system for my studies that I've been using for, I think, 5 years now.
Really?
Yeah. And it's actually a really big help. And since I have that habit, I stay organized. And the very hard thing about habits is that you have to develop them.
I'm sorry, what study habit?
Okay, so remember how the binder thing from ACP 6th grade?
What? I wasn't there in 6th grade.
Yeah, exactly. So that binder thing in ACP, I've been doing it since 6th grade and I'm still doing it. So that's 5 years running.
Yeah.
Also cut that out. So I just have that thing, and it's a matter of keeping habits, a matter of just trying to build that habit. So you just say you, like, always leave papers out on your desk. What you want to start a habit of is you want to gather those papers, organize them, and place them somewhere. I don't care if it's like a folder or binder or whatever. You just want to place them somewhere neat. And by neat, I just don't mean like place them randomly on your desk. That's just going to make things worse.
Yeah, like find a shelf or like somewhere you can store everything like related. So like you could have one shelf for like books, one shelf for like folders, and like I just keep like all my like scissors, rulers, whatever in like my drawer.
Yeah, like school supplies and
Yeah.
office supplies. Yeah, so that's like a very good thing. In fact, I have lots of office supplies in my drawer of my desk, in my desk. In fact, if I could show you guys, I would. But I'm not going to do that because we have this presentation. So, yeah, that's a very big thing, just like knowing where everything is.
It's honestly just like fun to like. So when I bought my like pen organizer, it just made me like happy. Like you
Just
can like
see it. Like, it's so satisfying just to see it.
yeah. So like my desk, I kind of made it like white, teal, and purple because those are like my favorite
Yeah, and
colors.
also like using colors to help you just can also help you stay organized. For example, I have like in my binder a rainbow pattern.
Yeah.
It just like goes into the rainbow sort of thing, and I just put my papers in there and it makes me feel good.
Yeah, like different aesthetics can like help you out and just like I don't know, it makes you feel happy.
But the problem is that don't go too extreme with it. You don't want everything to be aesthetic.
Yeah.
That's where you go wrong. Just that if small things are more colorful, it's actually proven that color does help people study and learn things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like the basic whole thing of it.
Yeah.
So we're going to move away from normal organization, and just as a closing statement for that, the key is to stay organized. Getting organized is, as I said before, one and done. Staying organized, building those habits can truly help you. And I feel like I'm sounding like a lecture person, but we are filming a podcast. So now we're going to talk about digital organization. I have one word for this. Want to say it?
Wait, what?
She can't see her notes. It's folders.
Oh,
We went over this. Come on.
yeah.
Yeah, so folders are like the one thing that can keep you organized. For example, if you were to watch some of my very old videos, you can see I use something called Autodesk Fusion 360, and within Autodesk Fusion 360, I keep folders, I keep things organized, and that can be really helpful, especially since, like, this is me personally, I'm not sure if this relates to you, but when things are messy digitally, I can't stand it. It just, like, makes me have so much anxiety.
I know. So I used to like bookmark a lot of things, and I never like made folders for it, so it really bothered me.
In fact, I see like someone else's. I know he just has all these bookmarks and doesn't even care to organize them. And I'm like, how do you see?
Yeah, I think one time I got really mad and I just deleted the whole thing. Kind of regret it, but like it was mostly just shopping stuff, so it's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. For me, I think I have like 20 bookmarks in Google. But like, I just keep bookmarks for the things I really need and then just delete them later when I don't need it.
Yeah.
So that's also a good thing. Delete things that you don't need. Like, if it's like finance stuff, I don't recommend you delete it because you need to have those records, especially with like personal info. We could get into cybersecurity and all that, but we're not going to because only one of us is sort of techie.
Yeah. Not me.
Okay. So that's gonna be it. And with like folders, and you have to also label those folders. You can't just leave them as untitled.
Yeah.
You won't know what everything is. In fact, in my File Explorer, I feel like I have 1,000,000 folders. So with folders, there are two extremes. You can't have any at all, and that's bad because you just have all your files, or you have too many and you can't find anything. So figure out a system with the folders digitally. It doesn't matter if you're using File Explorer or Google Drive or something, or OneDrive. It doesn't really matter, but what does matter is that how you organize yourself within these folders. And again, you have to stay consistent with it. Again, the habit of putting things in there. Like for example, all the files for my videos, I keep them in the cloud, and I know where everything is, and I sort by the date of when they're published. So that's just like one way to organize. Or if you want to organize things into like projects, school things, work things, whatever, that's also a good way to do it.
Yeah, I also use like subfolders sometimes. So I have like one big category and then I have like other mini ones. But make sure you keep the folders at the top so they don't get lost.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Some programs do that by default, but you have to know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's another thing. Like doing, like in HTML could have been called nesting, but putting those folders into folders can also be help because you don't want just one folder. Most of the time, one folder doesn't help unless you're really lucky, sort of thing. But it could be a big help. And I still feel like I'm talking too much.
I don't really know much about like folders or something.
Oh, come on, you use technology, don't you?
Yeah, but like if I get mad, I just don't look at it. It's not. Oh yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. You need to look.
But I have so many. It's like, for me, when I used to use YouTube, I kind of stopped. But like, I would like everything, and that was like my folder. Except there's like 5,000 videos in there, and I'm pretty sure I haven't even watched half of it.
Oh my
so like,
God.
I kind of need to organize that.
Yeah, but you could organize that by putting things top of all because like videos are basically just a playlist.
Yeah.
For me, I think I have like 80 videos in there.
Oh, I don't even know what
And I
I
organize it so all the short videos are on top.
see. Okay, like I just never bothered to organize it because what I would do is I kind of just like tackled it all at once. That's not a good idea.
That is not a good idea. If you, like, going back to our SMART goals, if you have a goal of that, then just be time bound with it.
Yeah, you could do like, I don't know, maybe do like 50 videos one day so you don't go crazy, and then do 50 videos another day or something.
Yeah, but that's like for playlists and all.
Yeah.
But digital organization does go with things like YouTube and all that. Because when you're talking about, like, for example, if you have a YouTube channel and you have your videos, you should be able to see where your videos are, be able to organize that. YouTube automatically organizes it by day when they're published or if they're already published. But you can also organize it in different ways.
Really?
Yeah, I can show you after.
Okay, I did not know that.
Yeah. So that's like, we're going to wrap up organization now. Next thing is information overload that we're going to talk about. Information overload is like very important because people just don't have a good way to do it. Oh, we can mention something. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. But you guys see the pictures on the screen, right? AI has been getting incredibly big lately. And like for ChatGPT, being our Snapchat AI and all that, these photos that you're seeing on the screen for our topics, they're made by AI. We forgot to mention that.
It was just really cool to like watch the process because we just like typed something in and then it gave us photos.
Yeah, and these photos are honestly like really cool.
Yeah.
Like we just put in a prompt. I actually learned about prompt engineering yesterday. Who knew there were so many parts to it? But we just put in a prompt and then gave us this, and we picked the photo that we thought was best.
Yeah, it actually gave us like 4 options for like each thing.
Yeah, we use Bing AI if you're like wondering. So you just type in bing.com/new and you can chat with an AI chatbot. It's actually a really cool. I do recommend it. With ChatGPT, you can't do that because it's like text based, but ChatGPT can bring out some good stuff if you have the right prompt.
It's a good friend.
Yeah, but we're not allowed to use it.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure ChatGPT like every day gets 100 million requests.
Oh.
That's a lot. And Google's scared of that.
I kind of want to like try it for like a recipe to like make something.
Yeah, I can spew out recipes if you wanted to.
I haven't tried it yet, but it seems cool.
Yeah. So moving away from AI, we forgot to mention that at the beginning, so sorry. We're going to go back to information overload. So a lot of people don't know how to handle it, and we just want to talk about their ways to handle it, you know? So this is what we put in our notes. When you do have overload information, for example, you're a CEO and you get all these things, I doubt, like, there are lots of CEOs, but of big companies, there's not too much. But if you get lots of these things, or if you're just a leader in general, don't freak out over it. The best way to go through information overload is to process through it. If you freak out over it, in fact, I heard this before, if you freak out over something, it's almost like going through the pain twice. You don't want to do that to yourself. So don't freak out over it. And the best thing to do is just process it. I would say one of the best ways of processing information, writing it down or typing it. Because when you do that, you are making a fine connection with your brain, saying, okay, this is all the information. I'm going to write down everything. And when you write it down, do things like bullet points, don't do full paragraphs, because that can make you feel overwhelmed even more. Do you want to add anything to this? I feel like I've been talking too much.
I like using like Post-its, because like I have like a whiteboard in my room and like put it on there, and then I can just like see everything. Because for me, it helps when I see all the information laid out. Like you could also just use an agenda. I like Post-its.
Yeah,
so.
Post-its are a good way. As long as they don't get like too cluttered, it's fine.
Yeah.
I also use like a tiny bit of Post-its, like just to write like quick notes to myself or something. But both of us are opposite. She uses Post-its. I use agendas. And you should see my agenda.
I lost my agenda last year.
Oh my gosh. How do you survive?
And when my teacher asked me, whose agenda is this? And I thought it wasn't mine, so I didn't answer. But now that I'm thinking about it, it probably was.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so that's also, there are also different ways to process through information. I would say the worst way is going through it in your head, because in your head, you'll be like, oh no, I have to do all these different things. But when you write it down or draw it down or do whatever, it can actually help you process through it, and then you can actually remember it better. Because it's proven that if you just go through in your head, it won't help you. Like, for example, studying, it's actually proven, scientific. There's several studies you can look up, but don't click off this video. But basically, what they learned is that the more students interact with what they're focusing on, the more they remember and the better they do on the test. For example, just reading your notes, you won't learn anything. Like, you took those notes as part of studying, but you won't learn anything just by reading them. But if you were to annotate them, say what you're annotating and use color, that can help you so much more, and you're most likely to get a better score out of it. But also, sorry to cut you off, but also it does depend on which learning style that you like. I would say the learning style that's probably worse is just pure lecture for a whole hour or something like that. And I did cut you off. Please continue.
I was going to say you could also use like flashcards or like Quizlets. Or if you like studying with like other people, then quiz each other, because it helps you like remember more. And also going back to like remembering everything in like your head, you could possibly like forget something. So it's better like if your teacher gives you an assignment, just write it down in your agenda, because then you know you'll have everything and you won't like skip something.
Yeah, so writing it down also really helps. And again, studying techniques, I know this isn't about studying. We honestly should do a podcast about studying. But basically what this is that you don't want to keep everything in your head. It doesn't help you. Writing it down, jotting it down is always the biggest help to you. And when you're trying to interact with what you're doing, it can help you even more. So with information overload, just to summarize, do you want to say the summary, or should I say it?
You can do it.
Okay, so to summarize everything, don't freak out over it. It's going through the pain twice, like I said before. And just try to process through it. There are many ways to process through it, writing stuff down and all. And we sort of got sidetracked time into studying and all that. But it does help you. The more you interact and the more you process through it, the easier it will be for you later on when you have to go through it again. So, like developing that habit, it can be really good for you. And that sort of goes into our next thing, which is mindset and motivation.
Da-da-da.
So this is, I would say, out of all the things, I don't want to think of these as categories that one is more important than the other, But if we like were to go back to bio and think about keystone species, I'm just sorry, just that bio's sort of my thing, but not really. That if we were to go to keystone species, this species is more equal than another. That's sort of what I think about when we're talking about all these
You were
topics.
pointing at me.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't, I swear.
Fine. It's just like you were like that. So then I
Yeah.
was like, this species.
No, humans are their own species. I would just like use it like
Yeah.
But with, I would say like this topic is quote unquote more equal than other topics that we're mentioning here. So with mindset and motivation, I would say like a key thing to do, like just like we're going back to our old example saying like, oh, if you have a difficult subject or if you have a subject that you don't like, you have the best thing and probably the hardest thing is to be strong mentally, which is not easy. Because you guys want to give, everyone wants to give into their laziness. All of us do. It's just like a normal tendency at this point that, oh, we want to just like relax, I can do it tomorrow. You should not. That is procrastination and it doesn't get you anywhere except back to information overload.
Yeah.
Procrastination is never good for you unless it's like, actually no, there's no unless, it's just not good. But having the mindset and the motivation is the best thing. We're going to talk about mindset first, and I'm sure you guys all heard this, growth mindset. I'm pretty sure everyone I know has heard it. I'm pretty sure you probably have heard it, but it actually is a very good thing to think about and know, because if you have that different mindset, it's shown that you can be so much more successful. Do you want to add on, because I'm about to?
When we did learn about growth mindset, what's the other one?
We're just going to talk about growth mindset first.
Okay, yeah, but like whatever the other one is, like growth was like all colors, and I was like, that's what I remember. I was like, that one was colors, and the other one was like black and white, and it was like so dull. So I think of like growth as like a way to success, and like it helps you get to where you want to be.
Okay, so that's like a very good build point of what I'm going to say is that it's actually proven that if you have that growth mindset and if you're optimistic, people think optimistic is like, it might have a good connotation, but it's in reality a bad thing when it's actually not. Like, this is an example of growth mindset. You have to say you fail a test and you're like, what did I do wrong? Why didn't I get 100? And then the growth mindset part, so that's like the normal mindset we think of. The growth mindset part is like, how can I do better?
Yeah.
Instead of focus, it's like the sort of, it's like how they say that if you have a half a glass of water, are you half empty or half full? Growth mindset is a half full part with the colors. Because actually, like, you can use it as like a prism and see all the colors, you know?
Yeah. So basically, like, look on the bright side.
Yeah.
I love saying that. And just like think of all the positive things, because if you think about negatives, then you're just gonna like drag yourself down. So when you think like positive and optimistic, believe that you can like make it to your goal, and then eventually you will.
Yeah. So with growth mindset, it's, I sort of forgot what okay, now I remember. So you just say you were doing like a personal progress check. We sort of do that in some classes. So what we do is that first is that you just say about 4 out of 15. And so instead of having that normal and be hard on yourself being like, what did I do wrong? Go through your questions and be like, oh, I got this right, and I know why I got that right. So how can I apply that skill to the other questions I got wrong to make it better? So then the next time you go through and do different questions, you might end up getting like a 7 out of 15. And going back to our SMART goal, that's actually improvement. That's measurable things you want to see. So it might not be a perfect score. It doesn't have to be. What it has to be is that you can show improvement, and since you're showing that improvement, be like, oh yes, I got a 7 out of 15. Also going back to that story with the 2 kids who couldn't even properly read and write, they got a 2, and I'm sure they're extremely happy about it, because getting that 2 is really hard.
Yeah. I was gonna say something, but I forgot.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Wait, okay, we just talked about like.
Talked about that growth mindset.
Yeah, no, I know. But there's something that you said that I was gonna add on to.
Okay, if it comes back to you, say something.
Okay.
But with that growth mindset, there's also some other examples. I remember like an old teacher might used to have these signs in her classroom being like, this is what growth mindset, the colors, versus the black and white. So going back to the first example we had, what did I do wrong? How can I make it better?
Oh,
Yes.
I figured mine out. So it's like, if you don't know what you did wrong, it's okay to like ask someone and ask for like help, because like if I struggle at something, I'm not gonna know how to do it, and it's so much easier for me when someone like explains it. Oh, also, this is kind of random, but like, figure out how you learn best. Like, I know some people learn with like pictures and like slideshows, and others like lectures. So once you figure that out, it also like
The best way to study, I would
Yeah.
say. Like, if you figure that out, then you're basically set because you know how your brain works, and no one knows you better than yourself.
Yeah.
Like, your best friend, your parents, no one is going to know you better than you yourself.
Yeah, and you can also like change. So just like make sure you figure out like what you want and how to get there.
Yeah, and that goes back into like your motivation, because if you're doing something that you enjoy and you're being productive at the same time, that can truly help you, because then you have that motivation to actually do what you want, what you have to do. It's not exactly what you want, but what you have to do, and it's really good.
Yeah. I also just like listening to motivational speeches.
Yeah, they're motivational.
Yeah. No, it's just like I don't know if it's like the way they speak or something, but it's just it makes you feel better, and it does make you feel more motivated. So then like you'll get more stuff done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so with motivation, like people say develop habits, when in reality it's not about developing habits. It's like I said before, it's about having that being strong mentally, fighting through your laziness, fighting through those tendencies, or in like Hinduism we call vasanas, fighting through that and trying to remove them. And after that, you'll actually be more successful. Because the thing about successful people, they fear of getting lazy. Lazy people, they have a fear of of doing something and then failing at it.
So it's basically like fight your fears.
Yeah, because it's not exactly fears. It's just fighting those tendencies you have. Tendencies aren't always fears, but they could be.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're talking about that motivation, if you really want to stay motivated to what you're learning or what you're doing, try to associate it with something that you really like. For example, I don't like English. I just don't like it, but I love reading. So you have to say, we're reading something in my English class is not too interesting, but I'm reading something personally and I think it's interesting, I can correlate those two. In fact, that's how you build deeper connections within your mind. Because your mind is constantly making new connections. If you tap into your thoughts, like go into like a meditation mode, you can see how much they wander and make new connections. So if you try to connect one text to another and do like a text-to-text connection like we learned in elementary school, if you do that, you actually have a much deeper understanding, sorry if I'm muffling, understanding, and then you can actually go through it.
Yeah, when you like find something you like and compare it to like something you don't like and you find similarities, then it makes it more like bearable and you can like get through it. And it'll help you like grow.
Yeah, that'll help you grow a lot. And that goes back to our mindset. You want to have that growth mindset, being like, I can do better. You want to be that glass half full.
Yeah.
Not glass half empty. You won't get anywhere, because this is what someone said to me before. A bad attitude is like a flat tire. It can't get you anywhere. Which is honestly really true. If you have a bad attitude, what are you going to gain from it?
Yeah.
Like, I guess sometimes, like, honestly, lots of the times we all get a bit cranky, but we have to put that aside. We have to put that tendency aside, get our job done, then be cranky as much as you want. But I doubt anyone would like that.
Yeah.
But the important thing is just getting that stuff done and having that mindset that you can do it, that you will do it. And it's not if, it's a when that you want to do it. So I'm going back to our like, time management stuff. You don't want to like hold off on it, but you should be able to do it. And it should be achievable.
Also, don't like pile everything on at once. Try and spread it out, because otherwise you are going to feel like overwhelmed and you're just going to like want to break down and just not do anything. So if you spread it out, then you can get stuff done. And yeah, like make sure you take breaks. Make sure like you still do stuff that makes you happy, but you're getting your work done.
Yeah, you basically tied into almost every single topic that we discussed.
Yeah.
You tied into time management, planning, and prioritization, information overall, and that mindset. So good job. I think after discussing it a lot, we feel much better about it. So I think that's how we're going to end off. I'm just going to summarize everything that we talked about, and you better talk about the summary too.
Okay.
Alright, so time management, it's important to take breaks while you're working, as well as like focus on the long term, being like, okay, this is due this day, how much time do I have, going back to our SMART goal, make sure it's time bound, as well as with that planning and prioritization that goes with time management, being able to plan backwards from your due date and go from there. It can really help you have things much more easier, and you can be more successful with that. Then we have organization. You want to explain?
Remember, like, you can be, like, you can get organized, but you want to stay organized and, like, keep everything. You don't, it doesn't have to be, like, clean, because, like, your definition of organized can be different from others. Just make sure it's what works for you. Like, I know I like having my stuff, like, near me because it's just easier to work with. But figure out what works for you and stay organized. And then for information overload, that kind of has to do with organization. Make sure you like write down all your information or like type it up. Don't keep it all in your head. Make sure that you have like a way to remember it, so then you can like get stuff done without forgetting it or just like messing up.
And then lastly, for mindset and motivation, it's not about building habits, it's about building your strength mentally, being able to push through your tendencies, push through your laziness, get the job done. Because after you accomplish something, it's like one of the best feelings you'll ever have. Because when you have accomplished something, when you have done that, it feels so incredibly good.
Yeah. Also, like, if you finish all your work, then you're like completely free. You can do
Yeah,
whatever
exactly.
you want.
You have time for hobbies and all that. And I don't exactly have time because I'm always being productive with something. There's always something that needs to get done.
Yeah.
But I would say try to hold off a tiny bit on that mindset, because then you'll always feel anxiety being like, oh, I have to get something done.
Yeah.
In reality, you have free time. You have the time. Not always, but sometimes. And that. So we're going to close off on that. I hope this podcast has helped you. Also, please, would you subscribe if you enjoyed it? I plan on doing more podcasts with more people, including she right here. So I really hope this has helped you. I hope you have enjoyed listening. And we'll see you all with another video. Bye.
Bye.